Welcome back. This is Landshark for Christ. This is day 6 of 21 days of prayer and fasting. Over the last 5 days, we've looked at a lot of different scriptures and ways we could pray for this upcoming election. Some of them focus more internally, some of them very specific, like today. We're going to focus on praying that God will thwart the efforts of those who might try to unjustly and illegally change the outcome of the voting. There's been a lot of talk ever since 2016's election of Russian influence, and now you're hearing China influence. You're hearing all kind of different things and concern around the mail-in ballots, right? So we as Christians, we can pray that God will not allow any of that to change the outcome of His will for who should win this election. And we shouldn't, as Christians, let the uncertainty of that stop us from voting and going out and doing our part in this, which is to vote and vote based on biblical values that God has laid on our heart as we prayed over these last 21 days. Something interesting happened to me over the weekend. I was at my dad's and we were out in the woods and changing out one of his deer cams. And as I was changing the camera out, there was a bee buzzing around my head, and I really was so focused on getting the camera done without the bee stinging me that I didn't even realize I was standing on a fire ant bed. And by the time I got the light set up and walked back and I was riding back with him in our golf cart, I'd realized as my leg started stinging that the ants were all the way up my pants leg and even up onto my shirt. And that, as painful as that was, it just reminded me of what we were talking about the other day with David and Bathsheba. So David didn't set out to murder Bathsheba's husband. He didn't set out to have an affair with Bathsheba. Sort of like me and the fire ants. I had no clue that was happening. It just happened gradually, and it was minutes later before I realized it. David really started spiraling down this sinful path as he was really forsaking his duty as king. Back in those days as king, you went out to battle with your troops. You were there on the battlefield. You didn't send them off. In this battle, for whatever reason, David chose not to do that. So that was the start. Then in his idle time, he's wandering around on top of his building, and he happens to see Bathsheba. And at that point, the covetousness kicks in, right? He saw somebody beautiful. He was interested. He didn't walk away like he should have and said, oh, I shouldn't have saw that. Let me just go back. He stayed there and watched, and then he called her over, and it just spiraled and spiraled and spiraled, just like those ants crawling up my leg. I had no clue what was happening. Before I knew it, I have a major issue. So David started with the sin of not going to war with his men, and before he knew it, it had led and spiraled so far out of control that he had committed murder and was punished severely by God for that murder. So as we think about what's going on in our world today, don't let a small sin or a small thing let you spiral out of control. Be in prayer. Use these 21 days and every day after that to be in prayer for God, to be lookout for those things so that you will vote with integrity, that you will do things in all your daily life with integrity, that you won't have one small thing all of a sudden turn you down a path that you're doing something majorly wrong and that has serious consequences and repercussions. So again, if we look at today's Bible verse, it says, the Lord detests the use of dishonest scales, but He delights in accurate weights. So it's so easy today to maybe be a little dishonest in the scales. Have we ever gotten too much change back at the grocery store, or they forgot to charge us for an item? Have you ever walked back into a store and said, hey, you forgot to charge me for this? I've been on both ends of that. I've figured it out and went back in. I've also figured it out and didn't, right? So we've been on both ends of that. But in this election, it is so key that we trust the system and be able to trust the system. So this prayer that God will thwart those efforts of whoever may undermine it. I don't care if it's Democrat, Republicans, Independents, Russia, China. May all that be stopped so that God's will be done. And just knowing that God detests dishonesty, but He delights in accurate weights. So if we could just focus and do what's right, just this election could just be the starting point of turning this nation. And it could be as simple as having an honest election where we don't allow anything or anyone to circumvent that and create a dishonest outcome. So again, this is day 6. Look forward to seeing you back in day 7. And as always, leave comments And let me know what you think about these videos and how your prayer is going over these 21 days. Thank you.